Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 23rd of May. Starting on with the FTSE 100, where we were looking for 83.30.40 to be the potential support after we made our record high there at 84.74. The low yesterday, 43, so the guesswork not bad, and obviously that channel kicking in for the leading index here. End of day close back below 83.40 would risk obviously a move down to the late April resistance around 8200, but at the moment still in that channel, still looking for 8500, and then eventually maybe by the end of next month or July looking for 8800 plus. Moving on to the DAX, and here it's been about trying to find new support at and above old resistance. 18,600 the support at the moment. That's just above the old March-April peak, and the longer we stay above 18,600, the greater the chance of a move up to the top of that rising trend channel from back in September as high as 19,400 by the end of next month. If we do break down below 18,600, then the risk is of a test of the floor of that channel, and 18,200 with the 50-day moving average in that region as well. The Dow is next, and here I suppose it's all about trying to regain that 40,000 level. The market run out of steam a bit now, but at least while we're above recent support, 39,300, got a chance of breaking 40,000 again and heading up to as high as 41,300 by the end of next month. If we do break down, then the favoured support area would be that rising 50-day line around the 39,000 level. Moving on to Bitcoin, which had a go at trying to get back to the highs, the record highs near 74,000. So far they're looking okay. We've got a rising 50-day line. We've got new support coming in above old resistance around 67,500. And the longer we stay above 67,500, the greater the chance of 74,000, and then up to the top of that rising trend channel from back in October as high as 87,000 by the end of next month. So quite a lot riding on the current price action for Bitcoin. On to gold, which has been the star of the show in recent days. Unfortunately, the rug has been somewhat pulled back towards the floor of the rising trend channel from January. The level there around the 2380 level, and as long as we're above that, then still looking for this market to head up to 2600 plus as soon as the end of next month. But disappointing that there has been effectively a double top there through 2450. Moving on to the stocks, starting off with AFC Energy, and here you can see that there's been a nice spike within that rising trend channel from back, basically this time last year. We've got an upper parallel of that rising trend channel, and that's heading towards the 32 pence level, which we are hoping for as soon as the end of next month, backed by the way that the shares gapped up earlier this month and actually failed to fill that gap. So it's a failed gap fill, which is quite a strong signal and suggests that some people are being caught out on the short side. On to one of the more frustrating situations on the London market, Audioboom here, bouncing off the floor of that rising trend channel from last August and bouncing above the rising 200-day moving average at £2.20. All that's missing at the moment is that we need to get the RSI back above neutral 50. It's 49 at the moment. Or if you're fussy, an end-of-day close above the 50-day moving average at 251 pence. Ultimately, the target here, if we can break through the 50-day line, is up to £3.50, obviously retesting the initial 2024 resistance. But looking a little bit better there than it has for a bit. Moving on to Block Energy, which has revived itself in the last month or so. We've now got a gap above a rising 50-day moving average that suggests that we're ready to have another go on the upside. In terms of where the shares could go, it's probably the rising trend channel that I'm just about to draw at the moment, which is going to be in focus. That's been in place since October, and while we remain above the floor of that channel and the 200-day moving average around 1.1 pence, we're looking for the top of that channel towards 2.2 pence as soon as the end of next month. You can see that there's an old resistance line there from back in October 2022, which is also coming to play. So basically two lines there pointing to 2.2 while we're above that 50-day moving average. Onto a company which looks like it's revived itself from both a technical and a fundamental basis today, and it comes in the form of EQTEC. And here, positive funding news has been taken well by the market, and you can see here that the shares up, well, they were up nearly 20%. What's interesting, though, on a technical basis, is that we had a lower low in the last week for the shares, but higher RSI trace. We also had a gap close buy signal yesterday, so there was a gap down on the 17th, but we closed above that. So that was a buy signal for today, and then we've got an extra buy signal coming from the break of recent neckline resistance around the 1.4 pence level. So that implies that above 1.4, looking for the 50-day moving average at 1.9 is a minimum, and then perhaps by the end of next month, looking up to the 2.8 pence level, which is the top of that triangle from back in March. Onto a stock that I don't think anybody covers at all, Gelion. Here it's interesting because we had that vertical move last month, but we've had an unfilled gap off the low for this month, which is looking encouraging. That sort of implies that we might get a similar kind of spike either this month or early next month. If you're cautious, probably waiting for an end-of-day close through the 50-day line, but obviously that gives away some of the upside, and ideally there's no end-of-day close back below 15 pence. Ahead of a move, I suppose, really to the 200-day moving average at 22 pence initially. Onto GCM, which can move around a lot as well, and here it looks as though we've got the shares catching the floor of that rising trend channel from September. Initial target here, the 50-day line, 7.25, ultimately hoping for as high as 13 pence by the end of next month, but looks as though some of the weak hands below the 6 pence of 6.5 pence level have been taken out, and the shares are ready to remobilize. Onto a stock which I was very excited about last week, and looking for the shares of KP2 to hit that the top of that rising trend channel at 1.25, which has been hit on the nose at the moment. End of day close above 1.25. We can have another leg up towards that red resistance line projection at 1.9 pence as soon as the end of next month. Ideally, we stay on the right side of a penny in the meantime, backed by the golden cross today, which is something to celebrate between the 50 and 200-day moving averages. Onto Kodal, and here it looks as though the shares are starting to remobilize or themselves, or reorganize themselves, gap through the 200-day moving average, and the initial target here, the top of that falling trend channel from back in April last year, but I think we can do a little better than that towards the 0.5 area. Looks as though we're in a rising trend channel from back in February, and the top of that channel now heading towards the 0.6 pence level, which we're hoping for over the next month or so. Nice to see also multiple bounces for the shares on or just below RSI 50, which should be a very strong leading indicator on the upside. Normally 1 or 2 is strong. Half a dozen is obviously quite a lot better. Moving on to stock which has had a bit of a slap in the recent past, but trying to revive itself. You can see that we've got a broadening triangle base here for MusicMagpie. Top of the channel there, or top of the triangle there, around the 8.75 pence level. That would also fill the gap down from back in March, and it was old support back in February. So 8.75 is the target there, by the end of next month, or hopefully much sooner, given these strong candles that we've had in recent days. Next up is Petro, and here we've had a gap down for the shares, rather a tough move there to the downside, and current situation trying to regroup after that, what looks like a bear trap from below the March support there, around 2.75 pence, above 2.75, looking 2.75, looking for 4.25 at the top of the range. Minimum up to the 50-day line around 3.5 over the next week or two. Onto one of the stars of the recent past, backed by decent news, I think 2 days in a row. Powerhouse Energy. Here we were looking for various targets actually, and I think we've exceeded all of them. The last line there up to 1.75 pence. Above that, looking for quite logically for the shares to head back up towards the old resistance, which I think I mentioned yesterday, around 2.5 pence from May 2022, and hoping for that by the end of next month. But the key here is trying to stay above that 1.75 pence area. On to the last three. First one is Simec, and here, first glimmers of a turnaround here. We had a gap higher which failed, but second bounce on this broadening triangle there around 0.75 pence. Initial target here, the 200-day line at just under 105, and then hoping for 1.7 pence to be retested by the end of next month. But that sounds a bit ambitious at the moment. Maybe it's better just to stick to the 1.25 pence area while we're above that 50-day line at 0.84. On to the last two. The first one, company which has been in the wars, at least in terms of its share price, but even Shield looks as though it's turning around. We had our target there of that red resistance line as high as 3.5 pence. Looking for that by the end of next month while we remain above the 50-day line at 1.75 pence. And nice positive candles there over the course of this week, opening at the low, closing at the high on 3 occasions, and that does suggest a bit of a turnaround, a solid turnaround situation. Finishing off with Sareum, and here we are just, I suppose we're waiting for not only the target there around 46 pence, but also the 50-day moving average to start rising. That should speed up the upside, give us 52 pence hopefully by the end of this month, and then up to as high as the 90 pence area by the end of next month. Rather ambitious, but at least the 200-day line and the 40 to 50 pence zone seems to be on its way. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.